Hey everybody, and welcome to Long Story Short with Uncle Jeff. Today we will be talking about the Brothers' War, which is a story from Magic the Gathering. The Brothers' War takes place a really long time ago, almost 5,000 years before War of the Spark. The story is about two brothers, Urza and Mishra. Urza and Mishra were born in Argiv, which is on the plain of Dominaria. At the age of 10, they were sent by their father to work for an archaeologist named Tokasia. Tokasia had an impressive camp out in the desert and had learned much about an ancient race called the Thran. The Thran died long ago, and while there were no remains of the Thran themselves, Tokasia had found a great deal of their creations. The Thran built many mechanical devices. Mishra dug them up, and Urza put them back together. As the years went by, Urza and Mishra also became experts on such things. The brothers had been working for 6 years when they found the Ornithopter. It was an old Thran flying machine. The brothers rebuilt it and used it to soar across the desert. And in doing so, they discovered Corliss. It was a desert canyon, and Mishra was sure it held Thran's secrets. So Urza, Mishra, and Tokasia boarded the Ornithopter and set off. When they arrived at Corliss, they found a cave. They went inside and found many old Thran machines, and they also found the Power Stone. Tokasia had been digging up Power Stones for a long time, but most of them were small and could barely power the Ornithopter. But this stone seemed much more significant. Both brothers approached the stone. Each brother thought they saw the other reach for the stone. Then the stone exploded. Tokasia, Urza, and Mishra all saw visions of strange things. When they awoke, the stone was split in two. One half was in Urza's hand, and the other half was in Mishra's. Then the machines came, automated constructs left behind by the Thran. They attacked the three archaeologists, who fled back to the Ornithopter. Urza tried to use his stone, but found it only made the machine stronger. Mishra's stone, however, was able to slow their attacks. The three made it back to the Ornithopter and escaped. Back at Tokasia's camp, the brothers' relationship began to break. They'd always disagreed about things, but now the conflicts became more severe. Mishra left the room they shared and began sleeping in the diggers' quarters. Each of them studied their stone. Urza called his stone the Might Stone, and he called his brother's stone the Weak Stone. Tokasia asked both of them if she could study their stones, but to their surprise, they both refused. Each brother was convinced that she would take their stone and give it to the other. Finally, late one night, Mishra had too much to drink and decided to confront his brother. He entered Urza's quarters and demanded the other half of the stone. Urza refused, and they began to argue loudly. Tokasia came running and entered Urza's quarters, only to find the brothers on opposite ends of the room. Each of them had their stone drawn and was focusing its power on the other. Tokasia stepped in between them to try and prevent the conflict. It was then that the room exploded. When the light had faded, Tokasia was dead. Seeing what he had done, Mishra fled into the desert. Urza wanted to stay and run the camp, but one of Tokasia's advisors told him that this was impossible. The desert belonged to the Falaji people, who did not appreciate archaeology. They had respected Tokasia, but now that she was dead, they would likely attack. So, reluctantly, Urza left. He went to the kingdom of Yodia. There, he took work for a clockmaker. But he didn't stay there long. The king of Yodia was trying to find a husband for his daughter Kayla. He had a large statue made and told the kingdom that if any man were strong enough to lift it, he could marry the princess. Urza went to see the spectacle. He had no interest in the princess at all, but then he saw the dowry. Among the jewels and swords was a book which had Thran writing on it. So Urza went back to the workshop and built a giant mechanical man. He brought it before the king and used it to lift the statue. The king reluctantly agreed to let Urza marry Kayla. There was a grand ceremony and the princess looked very beautiful, but Urza wasn't concerned with such things. He was only interested in the book. Now that he had money, Urza built a grand workshop which he could fill with his creations. He had countless apprentices who helped him, but most of them couldn't keep up. One apprentice did stand out. His name was Tanos, and he brought with him new ideas to improve Urza's ornithopters. Urza was very impressed with Tanos, and he quickly became Urza's chief apprentice. Urza and Tanos created many machines that could have had a variety of uses. But the king was not interested in that. He was interested in using these machines for war. And war was coming. Rumors had spread that one of the Falaji tribes had become quite powerful. Soon Yodia might be attacked. So the king of Yodia planned a peace council. He invited the leaders of the Falaji, Argiv, and Corliss. The council was to be held in Corliss, and Urza was to go with the king. He brought a flight of ornithopters with him, with pilots the king had chosen. They arrived in Corliss, and the peace council began. The Falaji arrived late. When they did arrive, they had a surprise for the other leaders. They brought a great machine dragon with them, and the man who commanded this dragon was Mishra. Mishra had been with the Falaji for all these years. They had captured him when he fled Tokasia's camp. He had been a slave for a time, but then the dragon engine attacked them. Mishra was able to command the dragon engine using the Weak Stone. So the leader of the Falaji gave the Weak Stone to Mishra and used him to lead his armies. The Falaji became more powerful and conquered many. Now they had come to Corliss, and they told the other leaders of their intentions. They were going to conquer all the land they had lost over the last century. But the king of Yodia had already planned for this. While they spoke, ornithopters flew overhead and dropped bombs on the Falaji camp. The leader of the Falaji drew his sword and killed the king of Yodia before fleeing with Mishra. Mishra used the dragon engine to fight the ornithopters. It did not kill them all, but it did give the Falaji a chance to escape. Urza was furious that the king had come up with such a foolish plan, and even more furious that no one had told him. He returned to Yodia and his wife, who is now queen. The kingdom began to plan for war with the Falaji. There were more raids, but no large attacks. You see, the leader of the Falaji demanded that Mishra leave and go find more dragon engines. So Mishra and his apprentice Ashnod went back to Corliss. They explored the old caverns and eventually found a portal that led them somewhere else. Mishra did not know it, but he had found himself in Phyrexia. It was a strange place covered in oil. It appeared to be populated by mechanical creatures that Mishra could control. Then a demon-like creature appeared, and Mishra and Ashnod were forced to retreat. They made it back to the portal, and Mishra took with him more dragon engines. Mishra and Ashnod left Corliss and did not return. They did not see the portal reopen, or the demon-like creature that emerged from it. They did not know that Gix was now on Dominaria. And that's it for part 1 of the Brothers' War. Come back next time for part 2 of the Brothers' War and the conclusion. In the meantime, did you know you can play cool Wizard of Ozvath games for only $1? That's right! Our game Corvain's Face is a lot of fun, and it costs less than the cup of coffee you'll need to drink in order to finish it. Playing our games is not only fun, but it also supports the channel and all the future videos we want to make. Anyways, I've been Uncle Jeff. Thanks for watching!